All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the 2014-2015 SHUKC Women's Basketball Media Day. I am Vernon Birmingham. Along with me this afternoon, we have David Brox of SHUKC. And we should continue to kind of give opportunities for the student athletes in the KCAL and the KVL to be recognized a little bit more for their efforts. When it started years ago, it was David and Nick Sloan at KCK Prep, so just really wanted to use this as an avenue to, again, help student athletes in the area be recognized a little bit more for their efforts on and off the field, court, whatever it may be. So we want to use this as an opportunity to allow coaches to talk about their programs, as well as student athletes to have an opportunity to participate in some question answer, public speaking, get thrown questions at you on the spot. For us, we feel that's just a good life experience, especially when you get to the time in your life where you be interviewing for jobs and colleges and things like that. Being able to answer questions that you don't know are going to come, I think, is really good thing to be able to work on. So we're going to get started. We're going to go through all the teams that we did have RSVP'd for the girls session, but we're going to start off with the Piper Lady Pirates. They're coached by Coach Shane Stout. Last year, the Lady Pirates went 20-5. Earning a berth to the state championship where they finished fourth in the state of Kansas. They won the KVAL with a 13-1 overall record. So welcome Coach Shane Stout and the Lady Pirates.
Well, thanks for having us today. Appreciate you guys doing this. I brought with me here to my right Jordan Wagner, who's a 2-year letter winner and senior this year and plays forward for us. And to my left, Haley White, who's a 3-year letter winner and 2-year starter and was KBL All-Conference last year, and she runs the point guard and 2-guard for us at times. So far, we've had 2 or 3 pretty good weeks of practice, I guess, and we're kind of itching to get started. We did not play Friday night. We start tomorrow evening at the Eudora tournament versus Wellsville first round, and it's a excellent tournament. Paola is number 2 ranked team in the state in 4A. They're there. Bonner Springs girls are there. They have an excellent team. And then also St. James Academy, who was a state team in 5A last year, is at the tournament. So it'll be a big test for us starting tomorrow.
Talk a little bit about strategy-wise from last year to this year. You lost a couple of seniors last year. Do you keep everything pretty much the same and kind of just keep building on what you had in place, or you put anything new in this year?
Well, depending on our personnel, obviously year to year is a little bit different, but I would like to think that we're going to be pretty much the same style that we were last year. We did lose several seniors that were, key players for us. We kind of feel like, or at least I kind of feel like, with Jessica Wayne was hurt and missed most of the season, and so she's healthy now, and so losing those 2 seniors maybe is not as big a hole. We're having her 100% here to begin the year. So we'll still play up-tempo and a lot of the same things. Obviously, as the season goes on, we add some little wrinkles here and there and those kind of things. But we have a very similar group to last year. I believe out of the 12 girls that we took to the state tournament, we have 9 of them returning. So, they're familiar with our system.
So kind of keeping that in mind, going 13-1 last year in the league, and like I said, finishing fourth in the state, returning a good chunk of that nucleus from last year. Kind of what are your expectations that you see going forward for this year? I'm certain maybe winning league and getting a trip back to state would be something. What's your mindset from a coaching perspective?
Well, I think everybody has those kind of goals. Want to finish high in the conference, and obviously, ultimately, when you get down the road, have a chance to make the state tournament. I think we have the potential to do that. But I also know that, just looking around the conference, I know Bonner Springs has their entire team coming back, and we had 5 losses last year, and 2 of them we went 2-2 against them. So they'll have the same kind of aspirations that we have as far as the league is concerned, and not to mention Mill Valley and Baser and several of the other teams. Lansing will have a nice team also. So we just kind of try to take it one game at a time, and I think our first goal is to do well at this tournament this week, and then next week we do have 2 conference games next week, but we would like to think that we have the potential to finish high in the conference and have a chance to get back to the state tournament.
So, Haley, talk a little bit about being a senior leader on this team and taking over for Tori and Megan last year of being that vocal leader.
It's a big role to fill for sure. It's fun. I like to be a leader. It's fun to be able to have your team, and it's fun to lead with all the other seniors too, and it's a good experience. It's probably something I'm going to carry on for the rest of my life, and I enjoyed a lot, actually.
So Jordan, talk a little bit about, I guess, preparations for you as a leader now, and kind of going through what did you guys do this summer from a team perspective to continue to try to gel and get ready for this upcoming season?
This summer, what we did is we did summer league, and we did some tournaments, and we did the tournament at Piper, and so we just went through all. We made sure that everyone was grouped together, and pretty much that our team was synced, and we actually played pretty well in the tournaments. And what I think is that for me as a senior, I need to step up and lead the team and just make sure that we keep going on what we're doing.
So I guess any of you two young ladies can answer this question, but who has you seen kind of maybe a younger player, maybe someone who didn't experience as much playing time last year that's looked pretty good the last couple weeks of practice?
Lexi Owens played a lot last year, but she's been going to practice, and she did really well in our purple and white game, and she's been looking really good at practice, making a lot of shots. And I know she didn't play with an AAU team over the summer or anything, but she did play with us over the summer, but she's looking pretty good this year.
So you guys broke out last year, got up to 20-5, kind of 500 team the last few years before that. How do you guys feel now being the target for a lot of the teams within the league who want to knock you guys off and take over where you guys got to?
We like it. We like the competition. We like that people want to beat us, because then they're going to try hard, and then that gives us better competition to play against.
Coach, talk a little bit about, you just talked about 2 of your losses last year actually happening within league and having to play some of the league teams numerous times with tournaments and sub-state, things like that. Talk a little bit about the KVL this year, what you kind of expect.
I think it'll be very well-rounded again. Like you mentioned earlier, we were 13-1, but that's kind of deceiving because the 13 wins, there were several wins that were extremely close, and then the one loss that we had to Bonner during the league, they really thumped us bad. I mean, it wasn't like we were unbeatable by any means. I mean, they thrashed us down on their floor, and and the other time we lost to Bonner was actually in a tournament, and we could potentially see them this week. So, not just to mention them, Mill Valley, the couple wins we had over them were good wins, and I know Lansing, we were down by 15 and had to come back in the second half and beat them. So it's a fine line between winning and losing, and even to get to the state tournament, we had to beat Baser twice during the regular season and then the sub-state game, and yeah, we beat them fairly handily in one game, but then the other two games were 1 point, one possession, and the sub-state game came down to the very, very end. So the difference in 20-5 and the difference in the year before we were 13-8, I really didn't think was a huge difference, but just those 1 or 2 possessions here in the game, as even as I feel like our league is, I really feel there's 4 or 5 teams that could win the conference this year.
So for you again as well. So, I mean, early in the season, a lot of coaches don't worry as much about wins and losses as much as they worry about, I guess, with this tournament coming up this week, what are you looking to see out of your team?
Yeah, we really never worry. I never worry about wins and losses, to be honest. Rarely even look at the scoreboard until maybe the fourth quarter. We try to just make sure we're doing the right thing every possession and improving every day. And obviously we want to win, and when it comes down to the end of the season, we do talk about if we have a game or two that's important in the conference or to get to the state tournament. But here early, tomorrow, we don't know what to expect. As many years as I've done this, and as long as these girls have played, that opening game, you never really know what's going to happen until you get out there and kind of get rid of the little bit of rust and butterflies that you have. So we're just looking for improvement. We look at our girls play hard, have good effort and good attitude each and every day, and not only on the floor but in the classroom and all those other things. We really feel like high school sports is more about the development of young people as opposed to just worrying about what's your record. Now, with that said, obviously we like to win, but
Talk a little bit about, who they mentioned Lexi, but who have you seen that stood up so far? Maybe you've been developing the last few years that you think maybe will give you a contribution this year.
Well, I really think besides we have four seniors, and I don't want to overlook anyone, and then and Jessica as a junior, and Lexi was in our starting lineup most of the season last year, but probably the one that didn't get as much playing time last year that I really think can step up this year and maybe get a little more attention is going to be Maya Morrow as a sophomore. And before Christmas last year, she suited up varsity, rarely played, and then as the season went on, even into the state tournament, I know our first round state tournament, she came in. We had a little bit of foul trouble, and Maya came in at the state tournament and I think had 9 points and a bunch of rebounds, and just really that was as a freshman. And she's very athletic, and she played a lot this summer, and so besides the familiar faces, and she's not a new face, but I think she'll see a huge role this year as opposed to just kind of a minor role last year.
All right, we'll toss this last question to the players. Being leaders this year, what are kind of your expectation goals that you see for your team this year?
I'm trying to think. We do have a big role to fill from last year. We did win a lot of games, and I think that we can't get too cocky with ourselves and that we have to stay humble and we have to know that we're not going to win every game, and we have to go in with the mentality that they're just as good as us and that we're not just going to come out with an easy win. It's not going to be that easy.
Adding on to that, we have to know that the team that we are playing, that they could be better than us. Just like if we play Paola, then we know that we have to play better than them if we want to beat them. And we have to, like Haley said, stay composed, not be a pansy like Coach Stout says. And then we have to make sure that we play basketball like we know how to.
Just last question. Talk a little bit about, I caught a picture of Coach Stout last year, a lot of fire on the sideline. What's he like in practice in terms of, that fire, and does that rub off on the players?
Well, Coach Stout, he's a really good guy. I mean,
For the most part, he's not really like crazy in practice, but he does get on us when we do like bad things, and he makes jokes, and it's really funny. He's a really good coach, and he really knows what he's doing, and he runs his practices really well, and he does get mad sometimes, but that's okay.
Yeah. When he did get crazy, it was actually kind of funny. And we all just looked down and we were like, "Oh my gosh, Coach Stout, what are you doing?" But that was actually a great time. Like, we all had so much fun, and it was just amazing to win that.
Thanks for having us, guys.